Hey guys, this is Andrew with Rossmönster Vans. Today we're going to walk through this Transit 148 extra long body. It has some cool features both on the inside and outside. We're going to switch things up and start with the outside first. Looking up at the roof, we have this Aluminess roof rack. We have a 52-inch light bar on the front facing forward, and then we have 6-inch light pods facing both the passenger, driver, and then off the rear of the van. All of those switches are controlled at the dash as well as in the garage. You can definitely light up 360 degrees around this van, which is a pretty cool feature. Other things on top, but we have 390 watts of solar up there. We have 300 watts of Renogy panels, and then a 90 watt ZAMP panel on top of the roof as well. So a little bit more solar than what we typically do, which is going to fit this client's needs perfectly, and it's definitely going to give them a little bit more power when they are out camping. Stepping inside the van, a few things that you'll notice on the exterior first is we did a little bit different trim pattern here. This van has heated floors, so that actually raises the floor up more, and so that's the reason why you have this kind of wider trim piece. Also, we have our flip-up countertop, which we'll talk about more once we're on the inside. We also have this exterior table here, so it's also pretty cool if you are on uneven ground left to right. You can come in here and actually adjust this by pulling this and moving this up and down. So you see it's getting more of an angle. You move that up again. We'll just go all the way to the top for sake of argument. And you see that now this is definitely no longer flat, that we're on flat ground. But if you were at an angle, you have some slight adjustment here, which is kind of a cool feature. I'll go ahead and put this back. I think right there is going to be flat. But it does allow you to adjust kind of on the fly. Definitely don't want anything falling off this table as you're hanging out outside. Stepping into the van, you notice that you have this nice open space coming into the sliding door. It definitely creates a nice spot to hang out here with one or two people on this bench seat. You also have a flip around backrest, which is nice. You can then come in here, hang out. I'll try to keep my shoes off, but this is a super comfortable spot to be hanging out in the van. Open up your sliding door, you can look out. This is also a window right behind me with an insulated window cover. So you can take this window cover out, open up that window, and you're going to have some nice ventilation in this van. Again, that pops up nice and around easy. Underneath here, you also have some storage. We're going to talk about that storage in a second. Stepping into the kitchen galley here, you'll see on the left side here, this driver's side, we have an Isotherm Cruise 130 drawer style fridge. These are great. They are very efficient. They also allow people who are organized to pack a lot of food in there. For me specifically, I'm not that organized, so maybe not the best option for me, but definitely fits a very common need in vans, and it does allow you to fit a little bit more food in that fridge, which is a really nice feature. On this side, on the passenger side, we have this galley that extends slightly into the sliding doorway. Not a ton of room, but when you flip up this countertop extension piece, now you have some nice functional workspace here. When you use that with your under cabinet lights here, it is great prep lighting. Again, in this van, we did the Ruvati workstation. This is the 15 by 20 workstation sink. We also have this water right here, which is drinking water. It's filtered underneath the sink, which is nice for people who do want some additional comfort when they are drinking water out of their van. Stepping back here, we have a 2-burner induction cooktop. And the cool thing about induction cooktops is they are safe. So if you were ever like sitting in here and you accidentally turn this thing on, it would never actually get hot because it needs to read that induction compatible pan in order for it to actually turn on. I'll turn that off here. And then on this side, in this upper cabinet, we have a microwave up in here, and just a very standard microwave. With these, we typically do 600 watt microwaves just so that there's not an excessive amount of power pulling here. Underneath the sink cabinet, we have a 7-gallon removable gray water tank. We also have a ball valve here, which controls where your gray water from your sink is draining to. So you have the option to put that directly into your gray water tank, or you can drain directly to the ground. Obviously, use local regulations and best camping practices. If you're in a spot where you cannot drain directly to the ground, that's when it's nice to have your 7-gallon removable tank and obviously drain directly into there before you dispose of that water. Stepping back a little bit more on the driver's side, here we have our shower. This is roughly like a 24 by 24 shower. So it is a lot going on in a little space. We also have our toilet here. This shower door is the Nautilus retractable door, which is a great option. Up top, we have this shelf here, which is great for storage and is easily removed. So when you are in there showering, you definitely take this shelf out and then you come back in and it just drops in here if you put it in correctly. And it just drops in there, and then you can store stuff up here when you are driving around. It also has this lip, so nothing's going to come sliding out. When you are going to use the bathroom, you can step in here and you sit underneath that shelf there, so it's up and out of the way. Kind of a cool thing with this toilet is we took the urine and we routed it into a 5-gallon holding tank over here in this bench seat. So when you look in here, one of the common pain points in compost toilets is you have to frequently empty the liquid waste. What we've done is we've rerouted all of the liquid waste coming from that toilet into this holding tank, and then you have a valve right there where you can dump it to the exterior when the time comes and when you are in the proper place to do so. There's also additional room to store things in this bench sheet as well, which is nice. And then up front, you also have this lagoon mount. So that table will service this bench seat here, as well as the 2 swivel seats up front in the driver passenger seats. Spinning around right here on the forward face of this upper cabinet, we have most of the switch panels in this van. You see that we have our lights here. So you have your above cabinet lights on a dimmer switch. We have our dome lights in the ceiling on a dimmer, and then these under cabinet lights, which are great prep lights. Up top, we have our water pump and our sea level tank monitor systems. You can monitor your batteries. You can monitor how much fresh water you have, how full your gray water tanks are, as well as your propane percentage in this van. We don't have an undermount black water tank, so that one always reads 0, but the other ones are obviously great metrics. Here we have our battery monitor system, which is pretty standard in all of our builds. And then in this one, we have 800 amp hours of lithium batteries. Typically, we'll just have a switch on the inverter back in the mechanical cabinet. In this van, we have this up here, so you can actually monitor how your inverter is doing and what you're charging. You can turn this inverter off. You can turn it to charger only. And so it allows you to control all of that from right here up in the cab. And then lastly, we have a Truma propane heater right here, which is thermostatically controlled. Another feature kind of related to the switch panel, inside this upper cabinet, we also have our other functions. So this van has an undermount gray water tank. So we have heater pads on there, which is going to make that compatible in cold weather usage. So if you were in the winter and it's cold out, or just one of the shoulder seasons and it's cold out, you would obviously heat your gray water tank to mitigate freezing concerns. And then also we have battery heating pads. So when those lithium batteries get cold, you want to make sure that they are at proper operating temperatures. So applying some heat there is going to help with both discharge and recharge. And then lastly up here, we have different timer options for your lights. So you can set 15 minutes, and then obviously after 15 minutes, your lights will turn off. And those are just different lighting zones at different options there, which is a pretty cool feature. Stepping back again on lighting, this is kind of tough to see, but you have some different lighting zones in the back, and they are both on dimmer switches. We have these above cabinet lights, and I'll turn on both those just so you can see. But above cabinet lights above the bed, again, under cabinet lights back behind the bed here. It is nice. It's amazing how bright it creates this tight space back here in the bed. And then you also have upper cabinets running the length on this driver's side. Lastly, underneath the stove here, we have some really wide drawers. These are roughly like 28 inches, which are great for storage. You have an abundance of storage for sure, which is nice. One of the common things in vans is you always think about where you're going to put little things. Most people frequently think about big items and where they're going to store like pots and pans, but they don't always think about where they're going to put silverware or like your wallet or little things like that. So it's nice to have ample storage to put those items. Let's step around to the back of this van and we'll look at everything back in the garage area as well as this cool bed system. Stepping back into the garage area, we definitely have a lot going on in the back of this van. First thing that most people notice is these mechanical cabinets are actually set in roughly 12 inches. And so this creates a nice storage area where you can actually store things the full width of the van. It's nice because this bed is running lengthwise, so we have the additional room to create this space. It's really nice when you have larger items or even items that are slightly dirty to be able to put them back here and not have them sitting on your mechanical cabinets or on your gear slide, which is a cool feature. Over here, you have your outdoor shower hookup connected to your water cabinet. This guy has a 30-gallon tank as well as your other water components, and we talk about those frequently in our other videos. This side is your electrical cabinet. Again, you have 800 amp hours of lithium batteries in here with a 3000 watt inverter. And then here we have a garage light and rear LED lights, which are going to be tough to see, but those are those LED lights facing back into this garage area. And then we also have gear slide on 500-pound sliders here. These are super strong, super burly. You have our Rocky mounts here, so you put your front through axle through there on your bike. It clips on, latches. You can put 2 bikes on here, and then slide those guys back in there. You also notice a lot of L-track in this area. When we were designing this, we wanted to keep these electrical cabinets as short as possible to maximize storage above this area. And we also added L-track to the front edges of both mechanical cabinets, up here underneath the bed panels, and then all the way around 360 degrees around this gear slide tray. What that's going to allow for is pretty much unlimited strapping potential. So you can put a lot of gear back here, and when you do put a lot of gear back here, you can strap it all down, make sure it's tight, make sure it's not going to be sliding around or rattling around when you're driving down the road. Looking up here to the bed, you'll notice that this is the bed panel, and then you have this gap, and then this is your mattress. Underneath the mattress, you have these Frawley springs, which is a really cool system. It adds some additional comfort to this mattress. So even though this mattress is like 4 inches, when you lay on it, you compress these Frawley springs as well, and it makes it feel like you're on a really big mattress, which is cool. Obviously, in a van, you don't have the space to have like a more residential 12-inch mattress, and so it allows for you, with the additional like 1.5 inches of Frawley spring and a 4-inch mattress, it allows a 5-inch mattress to feel like a 12-inch mattress. And then lastly, up here, just one reading light for the bed. Obviously, this person will be sleeping most likely with their heads on this side, unless they want to feel kind of claustrophobic and get underneath those cabinets. But most people would sleep on this side, and that's the reason why this reading light is on this side. And then lastly, we have a Bel Air AC unit up there with a max air fan up front. Typically, we put those AC units towards the rear of the van over the bed, so that when it is hot, you obviously get cold air coming down back where you are sleeping and trying to get a good night's sleep in this van. Again, looking up at the roof rack here, you'll notice we have these 2 rear LED lights that we just switched on back in the garage. Walking around this side, we have these 2 on the driver's side as well as an Aluminess ladder with Aluminess running boards. And then up top, we have that WeBoost antenna up there. It's also on a Rhino rack, quick release there, so you can pull that and pivot it down, so it's not always up driving around like that, which is a nice feature. When you do flip it up, you obviously get better service. Walking around to the front of the vehicle, we've already looked at the big LED light bar on the front of the van. And stepping back in here, we'll talk about some window covers as well as the insulating curtain on the driver passenger cab area. We have these window covers throughout the van. These are just magnetic, so they're really nice because you can just pull them down and then they just go and snap back in. You also notice when you do the sliding door, it's nice that you can throw it. That window cover is protected, it's safe, it's secured, and it's not going to fall or like get caught up and bound in that system there. And then behind the driver passenger door here, We also have this soft partition on your headliner shelf. This is nice both to kind of insulate the driver cab when you are driving down the road, and then also when you're back here in your living space, you can pull these guys. You just have magnets, they magnetize together like that, and it creates a much more kind of homey living feel back here in the back of the van. Pair that with your window covers, and then when you close the door, it's very private in here. It creates a very nice living space and definitely lets you kind of block out the exterior world, which for some people is a great thing and a great getaway. Awesome. Well, yeah, there we are. That was the tour of this Transit 148 extra long van. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop those in the comments. We do our best to answer all of those. If you guys want to reach out and contact us any other way, emails are great. We have a form submission on our website, so go ahead and go through that channel. If nothing else, look out for the next video. We have some cool builds coming up and excited to share them with you. Thanks.